I know you probably read the title and thought, what a oddly controversial topic. But before I continue, I want you to do something. Take a slow, deep breath. Hold it for a moment. Now let it go. Here's the sentence that inspired this video. It's okay to be selfish. If hearing that made you uncomfortable, you're probably not alone. It used to make me feel uncomfortable too. For a long time, I associated selfishness with arrogance, with people who only cared about themselves. But over the past few years, I've started wondering whether we've made the word so negative that we've forgotten that there's another side to it. Maybe what we call selfishness isn't always selfish at all. Sometimes it's simply refusing to disappear. I've always admired the people who are generous, the people who make the time for others, who help when they're needed, who care, whose qualities are worth keeping. But I also noticed something. When giving becomes your default, it's surprisingly easy to lose sight of yourself. You say yes because it's easier than saying no. You make yourself available because disappointing someone feels worse than disappointing yourself. You slowly become the person that everyone relies on. At first, that feels meaningful. Eventually, it can become exhausting. Not because helping people is wrong, but because you've forgotten to leave anything for yourself. I've realized that constantly giving doesn't always come from kindness. Sometimes it comes from fear. Fear of letting people down. Fear of being seen as difficult. Fear that if you stop giving, people might stop valuing you. And this is when selfishness starts becoming self-erasure. There's a difference between choosing to sacrifice and believing you have to. I don't think healthy relationships require us to disappear inside of them. Yet it's surprisingly easy to convince ourselves that's what being a good person looks like. Over time, it creates something that we rarely talk about: resentment. Not because the people around us necessarily did something wrong, but because we've quietly abandoned ourselves while expecting someone else to notice. I've caught myself thinking, why doesn't anyone check on me? Only to realize I've never told anyone I needed checking on. I'd become so focused on becoming useful that I've also forgotten that I was a person with limits. Now I want to redefine selfish. The word selfish usually makes us think of someone who only thinks about themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about recognizing that your needs deserve to exist alongside everyone else's. Those aren't the same thing. Looking after yourself isn't the opposite of compassion. It's often what allows compassion to continue without turning into burnout. I've been learning that putting myself first occasionally doesn't mean I don't care about other people. It means that I'm remembering that I'm one of those people too. There's a clear difference between intention and impulse. Of course, this idea that I've posited can be taken too far. Choosing yourself is not the same as acting on every impulse. It's easy to justify selfish behavior by calling it protecting your peace. I've probably done this before without realizing it. But protecting yourself isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about making decisions that align with the person you're trying to become. Sometimes that means saying no. Sometimes it means having those difficult conversations. Sometimes it even means accepting that someone won't understand your decision. That's very different from simply doing whatever feels good in the moment. But what do we do when the people don't like the new version of ourselves? One thing I found difficult is that people often become familiar with the version of you that they've always known. When you start setting boundaries, when you stop saying yes automatically, when you begin protecting your time, some people notice. Not everyone will celebrate that change. Sometimes they'll call it selfish. Sometimes they'll say you've changed. And maybe you have. The important question isn't whether you've changed, it's whether you're becoming someone you're actually proud of. I've often realized that some people aren't really reacting to your boundaries. They're reacting to the loss of unrestricted access that they once had. That's uncomfortable for both people, but discomfort doesn't automatically mean you've done something wrong. So how do you choose yourself without abandoning other people? You see, I don't think life is between choosing yourself and everyone else. It's about making sure that you don't consistently choose everyone else at your own expense. That's a balance I'm still learning. Some days I still overcommit. Some days I feel guilty for saying no. Some days I wonder if I've been too selfish. Only to then realize I was simply protecting time that I genuinely needed. Maybe that's a part of growing up, learning that boundaries aren't walls. They remind us that your life belongs to you too. I don't think the goal is to become more selfish. I think it's to stop believing that your own needs automatically matter less than everyone else's. Because if you spend your life trying to earn the right to exist through usefulness, you will eventually wake up wondering where you went. I'm still figuring this out myself. I'm still trying to find out where generosity ends and self-neglect begins. But one thing has become clearer. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you love other people less. It finally means that you're believing that your own life deserves some of the care that you spent so long giving to everyone else. And maybe that's not selfish after all.